Hello everyone and welcome back to another exciting episode of Hermitcraft Season 5. I do hope it's going to be exciting because I am pumped right now. Absolutely pumped. I can't wait to do the project we're going to be doing in this episode. Right now though, we are over at the witch farm and I'm up here checking on the farm itself. It is still running. That's very good to see because I've been logging in and out and I've forgotten to turn this thing off. Now if you log in and out and you haven't turned this off correctly, there is a slim chance that it can break, and it has done that before. The other reason we're over here is because we're actually collecting redstone. We're going to be working with redstone today on a project in our base. Hello slime, spawning in the slime chunk. We're going to come back here later on and work on this farm a little bit if I have time to. As of right now though, literally just over here for the redstone, and it gave me an idea. Is this thing on? Okay, so on means the farm is on. Here's what I'm going to do. I like to stand in this little hole here and AFK. I'm going to put that redstone there, put this stone pressure plate here, and then turn that off, okay? So when I go and AFK, I have to stand on this to use the farm, right? And then when I'm... hang on a second. That doesn't point into that block. Well, that'll solve our problem, I guess. My AFK room is now slightly larger. So yeah, when I stand on here, that's going to activate the farm. It's probably running now, and then when I'm done AFKing, the next time it comes back round, it'll turn off. That is a much smarter idea, I think. I must remember, though, to step off this thing when I log in and out. And anyway, it's time for us to go over to the base. I've got all the redstone I needed. There was a lot more than this. I've just made another trip back here to get some more. We're going to need this redstone to do redstoney things, of course. I'm totally pumped about what we're going to be building. I did a little bit of redstone. I found a solution for an idea, and I love it when things like that happen in this game. Right now, though, measuring out the space where this room is going to go, it needs to be 6 wide, and counting on camera is always terrible. That portion right there that is slightly obscured by this is going to be the part of the room that we walk into, and there's going to be 2 rooms over here. Now, a long time ago when I explained how the whole storage project was going to work, I talked about all the different dyed blocks that there were in the game and how I wanted to have them in their own sorting system. That has actually changed now a little bit, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yikes. I'm going to have to improvise over here because it goes a little bit too close to that for my liking. Oh dear. Let's not worry about that. I'll figure out a solution. Don't you worry. Let's focus on the room that's going to go here. So I want to store 16 different types of dyes and 16 different types of wool. The wool is because we have loads of it, and we'll eventually automatically deliver it over here from our wool farm, right? So we're always going to need bulk storage of that. The other thing that I always want to have on hand are the dyes. You know, whenever you're making something colourful in this game, you end up scrambling around in a chest looking for the different dyes, and what I've gone and done is gathered them all to here together. And then I've gone and created all of the terracotta blocks. Now, I haven't been too keen on using these, but I got a tweet from Howard Maxwell. So Howard, if you're watching, thank you for sharing your idea. The layout for this room is seriously cool. What we're going to be doing is using these as markers to show us what dyes we're going to be working at. So let's take yellow and red to begin with. This is going to be the shape of our room. We are going to have a 2 wide path in the middle, and I don't know what material these are going to be built out of yet, but then we're going to create a terracotta pattern like this on either side. And this is just an indicator. This is just telling us where it's going, and it looks like I kind of butchered that one as I placed them down, so don't worry about all of that. We're then going to repeat the pattern as we place it on the wall here, and again it's kind of a little bit broken, isn't it? But above where these appear will be some redstone lamps, which I forgot to put in my inventory. These shulker boxes are just so slap bang in the way, aren't they? I should have moved them first, but hey, I'm too excited. I just wanted to hit record and go. So we're going to have a little setup like this on either side. Those lamps, though, this is where the redstone gets interesting. They're going to indicate how much dye we have available, and this is an important thing because I would like to always keep our dyes topped up. Whenever I play this game and I make something colourful and it's like, oh no, I don't have the dyes, now I've got to go craft them and find all the stuff we need for it, we're always going to keep on top of that because we're going to be able to look into this room and see the status. And this is where my little redstone contraption gets interesting, because this thing is going to turn on when the chest is half full, and the second will turn on when it's fully full, which I think is seriously cool and going to be super helpful. So that's why I've made all of these different terracotta blocks over here. This room's going to be quite long, isn't it? It's going to go back a long way. I need to double check we've got the space in that direction. And now I need to double check that I can squeeze it into this space over here, because it actually needs an extra block in that direction. Turns out that we can reduce the size of the wiring a little bit, which is cool. I think these have both been pushed in by a block, which is all great. And I tell you what, I love the crafting system. I keep forgetting to use it though. Yeah, look at that. Bam! So simple. I love it. I ran into another problem as well. As I was building this, well, let's say as I was building it, as I finished building it, that one over there, I took a step back and then I realised I've got to consider height, because there is this thing above us. So I went and checked out how the storage chests above this and the item filter system would work, and yep, I had to move it down by one block as well. So if we just pop back over here, you'll see that quite clearly. I wanted to line it up with the floor the way it is on the other sides, but what we'll do is simply change this so this bit here will push inwards and this will extend itself into this room. And that means we've got to think about what materials we're going to use down here. I am definitely going to stick with the achacha wood. Also, let's check out the view of this room. Looking good, right? What I've done is I've put one pattern one way there and another one in that slot. So all of these are unique from one another and they look seriously cool. And there's many ways that you can arrange them. I've noticed that some of them are symmetrical across the diagonal, like that one, or mostly symmetrical, and others aren't actually quite. Where's a good example? Well, there's definitely some here. I'm looking at all this. There you go, non-symmetrical one over the diagonal. So there's multiple ways that you can arrange them, but yeah, we've just done two of those ways. So this stone down here is going to go. The achacha wood is going to stay, and we're going to keep some of the grey of our build theme in this area. This though is going to be the roof, and I wasn't sure if I should do this with these slabs or with these ones. It depends on how this extends into the roof, I guess. I think that looks kind of cool, but we need to see what else is going on there, and that would be just a little bit too bland. How does that look for a roof? Not so great, right? It's too dark to figure out what's going on here. Well, I'm glad that it's dark, because it's made me realise there isn't particularly a place to put lighting in this room. Now, obviously it's going to come from these lamps, but those chests will need to be half filled up before they turn on, and so I feel like this room could do with some other lighting. I don't know what material to use for the floor. We're going to get rid of this stone, so maybe it's glass, and maybe it has glowstone or something underneath it. I am not sure. I'm still messing around with things, but one thing's for sure, I very much like this ceiling design. There is actually another space we could use to put the light, and it is right here, because we don't need this space where the achacha wood is for any redstone or anything like that. So if I put a lamp in these positions, the light will go through where the chest is, and then from down here, yeah, we get a little bit of illumination that's basically going to come from the same place when these things turn on. And I like that. That's very cool. But this is all the glowstone I've got left, so I'm going to have to make another trip to the witch farm. Alrighty then. Glowstone in place. It's now time to do the redstone. And by the way, this thing actually doesn't go through the chests. It just kind of lights it up in that lighting glitch way, which actually I think looks really cool. Anyway, over to the side here, I've put down some stone bricks so we can do our redstone on here. And I've got to say I'm excited to show you this, but I think I might have hyped it up a little bit too much, okay? Asuma gets pretty excited when doing redstone, and I very much enjoyed doing this. It's definitely not the most mind-boggling or groundbreaking thing you've ever seen. In fact, it's extremely simple, but I just really enjoyed putting it together. We need a few more of those slabs, I reckon. Cool, so here is what we're going to do. We're going to look inside this chest for a comparator to see the contents of it, and then we want to examine the contents using redstone signal strength, and then create two inputs or outputs even that go back into these blocks to power the lamps above them. So we start off with a comparator in that position, and then we're going to have one pointing into it. Now, an important thing to remember here is that this thing is essentially too wide with a gap in between. So when we want to stack these side by side, we need to consider that whatever is in this bit here will rub up against that side. So I can't put a bit of redstone here and power it, because then it would point in the other side as well, which might in theory actually not be a problem. Yeah, now that I think about it, that wouldn't be a problem. But anyway, well, I might redesign this then to not use so many of these hoppers. But in here we got to put 2 stacks and 28, and that is very specific because it creates the right signal strength for this next bit here. So if this thing is half filled up, then it will give this comparator enough signal strength to override the one on the side here, and it will get 1 piece of redstone signal to it. So let's put that up there, and then that is going to be where the redstone comes from down below. So that would be powered if this were half full, and then we're going to take 2 redstone repeaters. Actually, do we need 2? I think we can get away with 1 and then a piece of redstone. I'm sure there's a reason that I put... Oh yeah, no, we can't get away with that. We do need 2. Or we'd put the other one over there. Let's put it over there for now, right? Because it's side-by-side redstone. It's got to be in one place or the other. Now what we're going to do is extend this, because as the contents of this chest go up, this signal is going to get longer and longer. And there's a particular point where we then want to say, okay, now it's ready to, you know, be full, essentially. Which is that much right there. So when it hits... Oh no, this would... Okay, I do need to keep a repeater on that side. When it goes to that one there, it means that the chest is full and the signal strength can't actually go any further. So we do need 2 repeaters on that side, and that's the thing right there. But you'll notice it shares this space right here in the middle, which is the problem that I encountered earlier. So we're going to do away with these 2 right here, and we can keep the same amount of redstone if we just push it over to the side like this. But then we run into a problem where this shared space that I talked about earlier is right up against side of this. So when we build the next module, that's going to connect. And what we can do is just put some blocks above it. Or I could actually lower the redstone, which is what I was originally going to do, but I think we'll just do it that way around now. So yeah, that's the whole contraption. How about I show you it in action? So 1 redstone lamp is on. Let's go in there and take out a stack of cobble, and then it's off. It's only when it gets filled up halfway that turns on, and then of course what we've got to do is fill it up all the way to get the rest of it. Yeah, so in goes all of that, and that actually leaves us with 1 too many. So it's not on. It's still not on. Only when it's a full stack, bam, does that last one go on. And that is pretty awesome. But that's not going to be the total amount of storage for this system. Above here, we are going to add even more. So, oh, I've put all my stuff away, haven't I? There's a hopper. That's what I needed. So up here, there's going to be more chests. We're going to have a hopper point into this here, and then a whole set more of chests and item filters. And how about I build that and then show you how the setup is going to work? Wow, all of that looks very technical and fancy, doesn't it? Cool, this took me a bit of time to put together, and it'll all make sense very quickly as I move around the side here. We've got our classic Impulse SV item filters here, and they are basically going to filter in the different walls on this side down into this space. And if I could move all of this stuff, I really wish I could. I'm not a fan of rebuilding, but we could have pushed it over this direction, let's say 3 or 4 blocks maybe, just squeezing into that gap. And then that meant that all of this up here wouldn't go directly under the front of the ring, which is going to look kind of strange, and I'm going to have to find a clever way when we build up these areas of disguising that, because what I do want to do is build up the gap between the grey here and the grey there with something else, some sort of colour maybe. I'm not sure how that's going to work, and it's going to be interesting. All the different sides will be unique because of all the different shapes. But there we go, let's just kind of recap this on our minds. So we've got this system here for detecting how much is in this chest, and then there is a hopper that points into it that doesn't interfere with that, and that's how the items make their way down to here. Now this chest has been split over to the side here just because I was thinking if we wanted to add more storage, we could put a hopper underneath it, a double chest across this space, and then another hopper pointing into that, so it would sort of split the flow and there'd be a little bit more storage space squeezed in there. But we may never need to do that, who knows. This is a plentiful amount of wall to store. And what's really cool is that with these indicator lights, if ever we're short on something, and I look in here and I see not all the lamps are on, it means I go AFK at the wool farm, and what we'll work on in the future is like an automatic delivery system to get it over here. Now, at the end of this room, we're going to have a little something going on that I'll get to soon, and that makes me think that at the end of this room, I didn't have anything planned, but we perhaps could put like a station entrance and have a minecart track that goes over to the wool farm. It sounds like a really intelligent idea, since this is the place you'll be looking at and going, I need more wool, let's head over there. What do you guys think? We'll make it a poll. Should we have a track that leads from the end of this room all the way over to the sheep farm and back? Take a vote, and I'll take your advice on it. So it is what it is. We've built up this side over here, and my plan was actually to time-lapse doing the other side as well, and I counted up all the resources, the materials that we need, and we are way short on redstone, which is crazy, because I just AFK'd for hours on end over at the witch farm to get the redstone to do this. That thing needs some improving. It's good already, but the way we're using redstone, we're going to need a lot more. And so we're going to knock this one on the head for now, I think. There's a couple of things to point out, like over here, this block was in the way, so I decided to mirror this side to the other side. As you can see, the repeaters are in the same spot, like in alignment, so I don't really know what that means overall, but it looks pleasing. And this is now ready to go around in that direction. So these hoppers are going to go off through that little gap and then hook up to that system over there, which is terrific. And before I was doing this, I actually thought for a second I might have built this the wrong way around, and this connecting bit should have been at the front. I'm really glad I didn't go and rip it out, because as I thought about it more, it's actually in the right spot. So anyway, we're done with this project for now. We're going to head over to the witch farm. I've got some things to show you over there. So while we're in the area, I'm going to turn this thing on. I've also brought with me my redstone box, which I've had stashed away in my ender chest for the goodies. But I found that now, so we can put it to good use. We're going to do a little bit of redstoning. I've got a much better solution for this right here. However, we're going to be moving the location at which these witches fall down onto. So we did a poll about this farm, and a lot of people actually voted that we shouldn't include zombies. And I thought about it, because we've got that zombie spawner, and you're probably right, because it's going to take a while to get those fellas into the tube, and they're going to be taking up the mob cap while they're doing that, right? And the same goes for the slimes as well. However, adding the slimes is kind of like a unique deal, and we can turn the slimes on and off. So what we're going to do is drop these witches lower down, because we're always going to have to transport mobs up and across to get them into the tube that these drop down to. So the lower this is down by, the better. We won't go too crazy with it though. I also experimented with changing this block here. And I gotta say it actually, this sound is kind of annoying right now, so I'm going to turn down my volume while we hang out and chat here, because those witches make a lot of noise. I tried out another block in here. Where is it? This one right here, the magma block, and actually it was really difficult to get an advantage out of having them land on that block, but we might be able to revisit that idea. There is a really unique property here, which is that these small slimes are not going to be able to escape out of that gap. Whereas if we were to use a block like this, and we were to put half slabs around the top, I think they might be able to escape. So when it comes to the slimes, we'd have to stick to using this right here. And the whole thing that we got going on below it is pretty naff. And it got me thinking about using the magma block with these things, and I had another idea. Let's pretend for a second that this is a magma block, then our previous system wouldn't have been able to pick off items from it because these things were too low down. But the trick with them and picking up items from a block above it is that it's on the rails, so it sits slightly higher and it's able to suck up the items from above. So if that were a magma block, it would be picking up the items on top of it. And that got me thinking, there's no reason we can't have a rail system here. And we actually just conducted a test without me thinking about it. That thing sucked up all of those items instantly, didn't it? You saw it, think about it, it just went whoom and took them all. Which means we could have several of these going around, loading and unloading, collecting the items and putting them into chests. Can I give you a nudge? Are you going to move? This thing's going to be awkward, isn't it? I guess I've got to put another one down and nudge that. So we could have several of them going around, and when they go under this thing, they're just going to pick up all of the items. So that means we don't need to have something permanently there unloading it. Another reason not to use the magma block is because it will kill the slimes, right? Remember, this is not only going to be an AFK farm, it will be an XP farm as well. And probably when it's in XP mode, that's when we'll drop the slimes in here so we can get loads of extra XP as we're attacking them. So the magma block, no good. I think we're just going to make our system rely entirely on this block with the trapdoor above it. A certain redstoner by the name of Etho is on the server right now. And spoiler alert, he's working on a new type of Nexus, okay? Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone that you heard it here. Actually, his video will probably be out before mine is. And anyway, he needed some iron, so he reckoned I could just drop it off here in the flower in the Nether Hub. Great little place to go and hide something. So, this little stash right here is for Etho of his projects, and I also put a little Easter egg in there. Iron Man mode. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, I'll let him know that the iron is there. Let's get back to that witch farm. So Mumbo has joined the game, and that makes our chances of getting some witch spawns a little bit lower, I believe, although he's lit up his area fairly well, but he's got that guardian farm. Anyway, getting sidetracked there. Earlier there were just 3 of us on, and I was getting loads of spawns, and then recently it kind of slowed down a little bit. So the witches are going to fall through here, and we've got some water at this height now, because we're going to have the drop area all the way down at the bottom of the world. And I revisited the magma block idea, and it turns out you can actually get this to work extremely well for what we want. So down the bottom here, I've rebuilt this thing, the crusher, but it's going to be redundant now. We're not going to use it anymore because this system over here is actually doing a terrific job. So the witches will fall down to here. They'll have like half a heart of health, and before they can drink their fire resistance potion, this thing will kill them. If we swap it over to this block, which I just chose this one for whatever reason, they will land on this block and they will survive, which means we can have it in XP mode where we stand here and whack them, or we can have it in automatic kill mode, which is pretty fantastic. And you know what, I need to get rid of that sticky piston as well. So we're down at the bottom of the world. That might affect the spawn rates a little bit, and there's one other thing to mention, which is that we can actually put a half slab here, and the slimes that go into this area won't escape. So this will automatically kill the slimes, this won't. It's pretty perfect, isn't it? And look at that, it's dark in... That scared me. Oh, and look there. Wait, okay, so a couple of them died. Will this actually kill them now? If they landed on that straight away, it would have done. No, now they're immune to it. Okay, well, I can finish them. So this thing lets the light through, and then when you move that one across, it's dark until something lands on it. Did that one just land? I think she did. We might have to remeasure the height of the water. It should be precise. I did some testing in a test world. Anyway, that can be revisited and sussed out, but the idea is pretty solid there, isn't it? So what we're going to do next is now put some rails below all of this and see if we can make a little system to pick up the items. I've been messing around with the water up top, and I think what we're going to need there is not a full water source for them to drop through, but just the blades. We'll see how that goes. I'm not ready to conduct that experiment just yet. So for now, we're going to leave it on this mode. And what I want to experiment with might not really be possible until we have a better running farm that's dropping lots of witches in. And I should have crafted some things first of all here as well. Okay, there we go. So if we put this thing on and send it on its way, yep, it's going to do just that. When it gets to the other side, it's going to stop there and load. Because of the redstone. What we're now going to do is put a second one on the track, and it's good to see that it bumped into the other one. Oh, do you know what? I think this is going to work. Unless they group up and do something really weird. Look, that one gets stuck there, then this one can go to that side. So if it had picked up some items, it could have stuck itself over there. It looks like they've grouped up, which might not be a bad thing. It might mean we can put like 3 or 4 on the track, because they'll still work together. That's really weird. Okay, did either of those get some items? They did. Now they're grouped up together, but it's like a double minecart then. So this system probably will actually work. I like the idea of them bouncing back and forth, because when one's unloading, the other one bounces into it, goes round to the other side and unloads there. But yeah, that's good to see that that works though. It's going to take some back and forth now, testing and experimenting. I've tried this with a water blade at the end, and it's still not very consistent, or at least as consistent as when I tried it in a creative world. So we'll figure that one out eventually, and that's the witch farm all set up down the bottom, ready for the slime to join it soon. So one of the things we'll be doing next is digging out this space here and building the slime farm. Look at that, there's a slime right there. So we're back at the base, and I'm just dropping off some valuables. We got these 2 heads in a previous episode, and I'm getting ready to build the room up here, which was originally going to be for our death mementos, but I just happened to put the chest over there. As I've been slowly tidying things up, moving things about, this project, this base of ours, is absolutely insane. And I've got some junk chests which I need to sort out. Going to slap these down over here. They are full of all sorts of different items that need a home in this storage system, and I'm very glad that we finally built this thing, because it's been making my life a lot easier now. But I hope you like the project over here. Be sure to leave a comment and let me know what you think about it. And if you've enjoyed this episode of Hermitcraft, then leave a like as always. Thank you ever so much for your support, and I will see you in the next episode. Ciao for now. Bye bye.